Welcome to the webinar conducted by Jeremy Walsh. This is Catherine Lodel, and I'm hearing myself in duplicate. But Catherine Lodel, Executive Director of BNI San Diego. Want to welcome all of our San Diego members, as well as some members or directors from other regions. A special thank you to Jeremy Walsh for conducting this webinar for us so that we can really get up to speed on online renewals. And with that, Jeremy, I'm turning it over to you.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Catherine. And as Catherine said, welcome everybody to the webinar today. We are going to be talking about the online renewal process. So this is something that's fairly new to BNI Connect. It was introduced in November of last year. And since then, we have many regions around the United States that are starting to use this new process. And this process is great because it really simplifies things from a chapter perspective and even from a member perspective. No more chasing down the paper application. A lot of us, we can only do things when we're at the meeting. That's the only time that we're all together. So trying to remember to get your renewal application and then trying to remember to turn it in. And then if you're the secretary treasurer, or if you're the vice president, chasing that person down for the paperwork or for the check or for the whatever else it is, it can be very time consuming. And even though it might only be one or two things, that could end up stretching out for 2, 3, 4, 5 weeks. And all of a sudden somebody's late or they expire, and then all sorts of weird things happen. But with the BNI Connect process, we can pretty much go through that whole process online in BNI Connect. So from a vice president standpoint, from a membership committee standpoint, you guys can both pre-approve and post-approve. So if you know that somebody's coming up for renewal and you know that they're a good member, you can have your membership committee meeting proactively and go into the system and pre-approve them. Or if a member decides they want to renew, they can just jump right on, click renew now, you'll be notified, and then you can go in and approve their membership. And again, that all happens online in BNI Connect, so it can kind of happen in real time. It doesn't have to wait for that paper to be chased around. So we're going to review that entire process today. So a couple of housekeeping things before we get started. First of which is, we're scheduled. This is probably going to take about a half hour, give or take a couple of minutes to go through, depending on how many questions you have. Now, keep in mind, this is a live webinar. So if you do have any questions as we're going through this, please do ask those questions. I do see a comment here from Ian. Ian says, I am excited, and we're pretty excited about this release as well. So the best way to ask questions, just as Ian put his comments in, you just go in and you type your question into the question panel. I will see that pop up on my screen, and I can answer those questions either as we're going through, or if it's something totally and completely unrelated, I'll save that for the end. As I did mention, it's going to take about a half hour to go through this, but I am always happy to stay on these calls until every single question is answered, even if it is something completely and totally unrelated to this exact process. We are recording this webinar. These webinars are made available in a couple of different places. The first place is on the support site. So if you're in BNI Connect, click on this question mark in the upper right-hand corner. That question mark will take you over to the support site. And here on the support site, you'll see our list of all of our upcoming webinars. And if you scroll down just a little bit, you'll see a section that says chapter training and documentation, and you will see the recorded webinars. And I've already started one for June, and this will have our entire series of June webinars. And as soon as we're done with this one, I will upload this one as well. It'll probably have it in the next couple of days. So if you need to share this with other members on your leadership team that weren't able to make it today, or you need to share it with your chapter members, you are more than welcome to do so. All right, let's get started with this topic. Again, this is the online renewals. Now, from a member perspective, the process is pretty straightforward. It starts out with a member completing the renewal application. And then the renewal is reviewed and approved. And finally, the regional office, once they receive the payment and confirm the payment, they reconcile that transaction. From a member perspective, there's a number of different ways that a member can start the online renewals. One way is that we get an email 60 days before renewal saying, hey, by the way, you're up for renewal in 60 days. Would you like to start that process now? There's a link in that email. You can click on that link and it will take you right to the renewal form. Keep in mind, you do have to log into BNI Connect in order to process the renewal. So people that have not yet registered for BNI Connect for some reason, they would have to go and complete their registration for BNI Connect first before they can perform that renewal. Another way is, I don't know if it's up yet, but on the BNI San Diego website, there can be a renewal link that is posted to your regional website. There's also the Renew Now link that's on the home screen in BNI Connect. And there's also the Renew button on the main profile. And actually, there's a fifth way that I didn't have listed here, but if you pre-approve a member, they will get an email saying, congratulations, you are pre-approved for your membership. Would you like to start that renewal process now? So there's actually 5 different ways in which a member can start that renewal process. Here's just a couple of examples of what this looks like. So you'll see here, there's the Renew Now link in this renewal reminder email. This is the one that members get 30 days before. I'm not sure what your link looks like, but there is the Renew Now links. Here's just a couple of samples from a couple of websites out there. So let's take a look. Let's actually log in as a member and process a renewal. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to log in as one of my members up in one of my test chapters, because I am a member. I don't want to process my own renewal quite yet, but I'm going to log in as my good friend Ricky Martin. Ricky Martin is going to log in and process a renewal here. So Ricky logs in and you'll see right away we have our My BNI business page, and then we have the Renew Now link that's right here on the home screen. So it's right under the change password and things like that. Now, regardless of where you click it, it will all take you to the same place. So I'm going to go ahead and click Renew Now, and what we'll see is the renewal application. Now, keep in mind, the fees in Antarctica are a little bit cheaper than they are in the United States, but we can still have the option for a 1-year renewal or a 2-year renewal. And all the member has to do is they do have to answer the questions. So things like, has your license been revoked or expired? They're very similar to the questions that are on the application form now. Are you able to make the commitment? Have you joined any other networking organizations? Are you prepared to invite people? Do you belong to other referral groups? Have you been convicted of an act of dishonesty? And which of the leadership positions would you be interested in participating in? Now, members will also have the opportunity to check their member details. And very similar to when you turn in a paper slip now, this does give you the ability, if needed, to update your profession and specialty and product service description. Keep in mind that if somebody does change these, you will be notified. So the membership committee and the leadership team and the regional office and the director consultant, you will get a big warning email saying this person has changed anything in here. So I'm going to go ahead and add something here for daycare for my product and service description. I also have to agree to the general BNI policies, and then I can proceed to payment. And here is where in Antarctica, I'm not accepting credit cards, but I know in your region, this is where you would then input your credit card and pay for that membership right away. I'm going to go ahead and submit this as a check, though, here in Antarctica. So we'll then see that we're successful. It says, thank you for applying. Your membership committee has been notified and will contact you once a decision has been made. Now, from a member perspective, that's pretty much all there is to it. You fill out the application, you pay for it, and you submit it. Now, you'll notice that the Renew Now link has gone away. I can no longer click on that in order to perform a renewal. And even if I go to, I'm going to go to the regional website here. If I was up at, let me go to bnisd.com. So you have the Burgundy Renew Now link. So if I was to go and click the Renew Now, we're going to have to take a look at that one after, guys. But the Renew Now link, if I tried to renew again, it would tell me that, I'm sorry, you have already renewed. All right, so any questions on the member process side of things? Again, that's the member process side of things. All right. I don't see any questions, so let's move on to the next part of this process, and let's talk about the approval process for leadership teams. Oh, we do have a question that just popped in. Does the member get a receipt? The member does get a receipt, so the member will be emailed a copy of their application, and if they pay via credit card, they will also get a copy of the credit card invoice as well. So yes, the email automatically comes in at the end. I have this whole big long matrix spreadsheet of all the emails that go out, so you'll be able to see that as well. Byron asks, what if you don't want to sign up for a job? I do believe that part of BNI is included in participation. So the option is there to choose any of the jobs that you might be interested in. It doesn't necessarily mean you will be taking that job, but as the leadership teams change over, things like that, those would be the jobs that they would approach you about. Ian says, how will cases where the member forgets to send a check to the address be handled? In our case, in San Diego, I know that for the online renewals, the only option right now is going to be to pay by credit card. Is that correct, Catherine and Steve? So I'm pretty sure that is correct for San Diego. In other regions that may also be on the call with us today, what I would say is to please talk with your executive director about the process for how to handle missing checks or lost checks or things like that. We have a, let's see. We do have another question. What about late fees? The way that late fees work with the online renewal is that if you do the application while you are late, so if you submit this application more than 1 day past your renewal date, you will automatically be assessed a late fee, and there is no way around that. It will just automatically assess that, and it will be part of the application. Sherilyn says, I've been told that once you start the process, you can't go back and change the application. Is this true? Yes, that is true. Once you have submitted your application, you can no longer change it. And the reason for that is that is what people are, when we come to the membership committee, we come to the vice president, what they are reviewing is based on what you have submitted in your application. Essentially, the application is a contract with BNI. So to have one version be approved or be reviewed, then to have a different one be, end up having changes to it wouldn't be possible. But you can change it up to the point where you actually do until you submit it. But once you submit it, it is complete at that point. So it can still be changed, but you do need to talk to your regional office because they would have to void that application so that you'd be able to start over. Sherilyn says during the application process, not once you have submitted it. So the application is a one-step process. As far as the submitting it, it's all on one page. So there really is no going back and forth on that. Fred has a question. What about companies that pay company paid memberships via check? How would we want to handle those? And for now, what I would say is, and please, Catherine or Pam or Steve or anybody, please jump in on this. Those would have to be processed with a paper renewal right now, or alternatives would have to be handled through the regional office. All right. Good questions. Excellent. Thank you, everyone. All right. Let's take a look at this approval process. So a couple of notes about the approval process. The approval process applies to the online renewals only, but it does mean that every single online renewal must be approved before it can be completed. So it is going to have to become part of the new process that you need to be checking for pending renewals. You will get notified via email when one has been submitted. However, it is very easy for those to go into junk mail or to get missed or accidentally deleted or just plain old forgotten about. So it is a good idea to stay on top of these. There are multiple levels of approval. There is a full approval, a conditional approval, or you can deny a renewal as well. In your region, you can do both a pre-approval and a post-approval, meaning that you can proactively approve somebody. If they submit their application and pay for it, everything will be done at that point. Or it could be the other way around. They submit, then you approve it. Now, if you do pre-approve somebody, keep in mind that if they do change any of their pertinent details, so they change their category, for example, or they change their company name, the pre-approval goes away and you have to do a post-approval. And for the regional office, the applications cannot be reconciled until they've been approved. So let's take a look real quick. When it comes to the pre-approvals, pre-approvals can happen in two different ways. Either when you get the renewal link in the membership committee renewal reminder. So 90 days before memberships are up for renewal, the membership committee and the vice president and the secretary treasurer and the director consultant all get an email saying, here is the list of people that are due in 90 days. On that list, there is a column that says approve. You can go in and pre-approve by using that link. You also can do this through the membership dues report. So let's take a look at how this pre-approval works. So for this, I am going to need to sign in as my vice president, somebody with permissions to do this. So I'm going to sign in. My vice president up in Antarctica is Alfred E. Newman, my good buddy from Mad Comics. And Alfred E. Newman, he needs to go in and check out the pre-approvals. So we do this through the membership dues report, or again, from the automatic link in the email. So I'm going to go to reports. And under reports, I'm going to go to the membership dues report. And in the membership dues report, what you'll see here is a list under the member renewal column. And this little red head will take you to the pre-approval screen for any of these members. Now you'll notice that Ricky Martin already has a pending renewal, so we can't pre-approve his renewal. So let's go in and let's say Marky Mark, I think he's going to be renewing. He's up for renewal. So I'm going to go in and pre-approve Marky Mark. So now keep in mind, Marky Mark isn't due to renew until 2022, but I'm going to go ahead and pre-approve him anyway, even though it does give me a warning. Now I can review all of Marky Mark's stats. I can see he has 6 presents. He hasn't really passed many referrals. I can click on the training details here. It'll open a new tab, and it will bring me to Marky Mark's profile. I can check out all the training that he's taken place in, and unfortunately, Marky Mark has been a bit of a slacker. He hasn't been to many trainings. I can also go through, check out his profile. He hasn't filled out his bio or anything. He hasn't really filled out much of his profile at all. So this is helping me to make a decision on whether or not to approve Marky Mark. Now, given his performance, we may want to conditionally approve him, or we may just want to hold off on this one for now. But let's say that I do want to approve Marky Mark. I can go ahead and I do need to certify that all necessary membership performance reviews and discussions have taken place. I can choose a conditional approval, and I can choose whether or not we have sent control letters. Now, I do always get asked, what does that mean? What is a conditional approval? A conditional approval, it means whatever you want it to mean in your region. So check with your director consultant, check with your executive director. All this really does is put a flag on their record saying this was pre-approved and it was pre-approved with conditions. But as to what those conditions are, we are not recording those in the system. That is up to you and your chapter and your membership committee to decide. When I'm ready, I can go ahead and pre-approve Marky Mark here. That's really all there is to the pre-approvals. By the way, if you are just somebody on the membership committee, when you go to pre-approve a member, you will not have the options to actually do the pre-approve. You'll just have the options to review the details. So these buttons down at the bottom won't be there if you're part of the membership committee. Only the leadership team has the opportunity to actually do the approval. Oh, we have a question that has popped up. Megan asks, I might have missed this, but what is the deadline for online renewal before a late fee is assessed? The deadline is 1 day past your membership due date. So if your membership due date is on June 1st, as of June 2nd, you will be assessed a late fee. So 1 day past the due date. All right, so again, that is the pre-approval. Now, again, if you do a pre-approval, so in this case, I pre-approved Marky Mark. Marky Mark will get an email saying, congratulations, Mark, you have been pre-approved by your leadership team for renewal. Would you like to renew now? And they will be given a link to go in and perform their renewal. This is a great tool, by the way, especially if you have members that you aren't sure if they're going to renew. It's getting to be 60, 90 days before their renewal. Maybe they're on the fence, but you really want to keep them as a member. That little bit can be the thing that pushes them over the edge to have them perform the renewal, because it kind of feels good to know that you're pre-accepted. Question from Byron. Byron says, can the Secretary Treasurer pre-approve a member? I do believe that the permissions, the default permissions are there to allow it. However, it is the responsibility of the Vice President to do these pre-approvals. The only reason that the Secretary Treasurer and the President generally have these is if there is a case where the Vice President is unavailable, then one of the other leadership team positions could step in and perform that action so that the whole thing isn't backed up. So does that make sense? Does that help? All right, let's take a look. There's also the post-approval process. So post-approval obviously happens if a member has gone ahead and done their renewal. Now you need to go in and review that and do a post approval. So how do we do that? This is done again through the member renewal link. So you will get an email saying, congratulations, somebody has just submitted a renewal for your chapter. You need to now go and approve them. You can click on that link and it will bring you to the approval screen. The second way is if for some reason you missed that email, or again, you should be checking this periodically, but the View Pending Applications screen is the other place that you're going to go to do the approvals. So let's take a look at what that looks like. I'm still logged in as Alf here. Alf is my good buddy, the vice president. So I need to go and I need to now, I got my email notification saying that there was a renewal process. So I'm going to go in. I'm going to go to Operations. I'm going to go to Manage Memberships, and I'm going to go to View Pending Applications. And here we can see that Ricky Martin has submitted a renewal. You can see that he paid by check. And I can see that the status is submitted. So it is submitted, but not yet approved. So my options are I can go in and click this arrow to bring me to the approval screen. Now this is very, very similar to the pre-approval screen. The differences is that we will see that we have a link to the application form. So I can click this link and I can open up and review, or if I need to, print out or save this application. I can read the answers to their questions. I can see that Ricky Martin signed up to be the mentor coordinator in the membership committee. So all of this information I can then review. Just like before, I have the member performance. I can click the training details. And the same options here for approving. I do have to certify that we've had our meetings. I can choose whether it's conditional or if control letters have been sent. Now you'll notice that I have an approve and a decline. Keep in mind you cannot pre-decline people, you can only pre-approve people. Now the difference between an approval and a decline is, aside from definition, if we do an approval, they will get a congratulatory letter, everything is all set, and the regional office can finalize this. If you decline them, what will happen is your team will be notified, just your team. So the membership committee, the director consultant, and the regional office will be notified that a decline has been input for this member. The member does not get an email if they are declined. I repeat, the member does not get an email if they are declined. If you decline somebody, you do have to give them the appropriate control letters in order to process that. And just because they're declined does not mean that they're automatically dropped or anything like that. From a regional office perspective, you would still need to void it if it isn't overturned in order to finalize that transaction. Now for this one though, I'm going to go ahead and you'll notice here also the yellow box here. This renewal application was submitted with changes to the name, company, or category. So it is giving us a big warning here that we made those changes. But I'm going to go ahead and approve this one. And now Ricky Martin, he will get an email saying congratulations. If for some reason he hadn't gone through with the payment yet, he would be reminded as well to do that payment. And now this is complete. And that's all there is to it. We can see that there's nothing to do here. I can see that the renewal was submitted. It has been approved. Notice the approve arrow goes away. And once it has been received by the regional office, meaning they've reconciled it, then this will disappear from this list. So make sure you're going to the pending applications once in a while and be sure to check on your renewals. Mark had a couple of questions. At what point is the member's credit card charged? It is charged immediately. So once they submit their payment type, the credit card is immediately charged for that for the full amount. If in the case of a decline, then the regional office would have to do a refund to that charge. Does that answer your question, Mark? Excellent. All right, so that's that. Let's just review real quick. The approval process, the membership committee reviews the applications, reviews the performance. You still have to have your membership committee meeting. It's just that the result of that membership committee meeting is recorded online through BNI Connect. Oops, I clicked too quick. Then once you approve or decline it, and then the region needs to review it, and there is an opportunity to overturn a decline in rare cases. We have another question here from Byron. So the Secretary and Treasurer no longer handles the renewals. What will be the Secretary Treasurer role in the process now? In some regions, they are still needed to handle the payment process in the event of an offline payment, such as receiving a check or collecting money. But for all intents and purposes, unless you're asked to participate in the membership committee review process, it is all handled online. You will still be notified during steps of the process, just to keep you in the loop. All right, so a couple of quick charts on, there's a whole bunch of emails that go out. The first of which is that membership committee renewal reminder. That gives you the list of all the people due in 90 days and an opportunity to pre-approve them. Then there is the reminder that goes to the member 60 days before, and it gives them an opportunity to go ahead and renew themselves. If on that member renewal reminder, there is an option that says opt out, meaning I do not want to renew. If a member chooses to opt out, the regional office, director, president, vice president, secretary, treasurer are all sent an email saying, hey, by the way, this member just opted out of renewing. You may want to take a look at this. It does not drop them. The member is still, expected to go to meetings and things like that. It is just a notification that happens. There's the email if a member is pre-approved, that goes to the member and gives them an opportunity to start the process. Then during the renewal, we have once the renewal has been submitted, the member will get a copy of that, and once they've paid, they will get a copy of that as well. If they have submitted an offline payment, a check, things like that, then the regional office and the director consultant and the leadership team will be notified that an offline payment was chosen and to basically look out for that offline payment. When a online renewal is submitted, then also the director consultant, vice president, secretary, treasurer, and membership committee are notified of that process as well in order to start the renewal and the approval process. There's another email that details any of those changes that might happen if a member changes their name or category or company name. And then finally, after the renewal, when a renewal is approved, the member gets a congratulatory email. If they had not yet completed their payment, they will be reminded to do so at that time. When a renewal has been approved, there is an announcement that goes out to the leadership team, the membership committee, and the office. Doug, by the way, RA stands for regional admin. So would be usually the person that's working in the office that does a lot of the regional processing of applications. I believe in your case, Steve Elliott does a lot of that work. All right, and again, there's a decline announcement that goes to the regional office, the director, consultant, president, vice president, secretary, treasurer, and membership committee. Reminder, it does not go to the member. And if you would like to look at your position, these are the emails that you will get during the process. So the director, consultant, and the vice president pretty much get every single email. There are a number of emails that happen during the process. So keep an eye out on those. Megan says, is it possible to have an email sent of what you're reviewing right now, the flow chart? Megan, what I will do is, are you part of the San Diego region? And if so, I will be emailing this, a copy of this PowerPoint presentation to Catherine Lodel. She can distribute that to anybody that needs it. Or if Catherine feels it's appropriate, I would be happy to just email it out to everybody that participated in today's call. All right, let's see. Lee says, what constitutes an offline payment? Offline payments are, if your region allows them, again, in your region, you're only going to be allowing online payments, but an offline payment would be a check, processing a credit card through another site or an e-check or something like that, a bank transfer. Yeah, anything other than a credit card is considered an offline payment. But usually it refers to somebody handing in a check. Let's see, Lee says this is an offline payment, a paper payment, and a paper renewal app. So again, offline just means that it's not a credit card. Rosemary says renewals due July 1st. So I'm not sure what you mean by that. Now that we are online, status of emails to know if member renewed online due July 1st. So all of the emails should, the reminder emails for member reminder and membership committee reminders, those have always gone out. So there's really no change there. But as far as the regular, for any renewals along that people have jumped in and started doing those right away, you should have gotten all of those reminders as well. If you would like to, if they haven't submitted a paper application yet, you can go in and start pre-approving people that are due July 1st and maybe prompt them to use this online process instead of paper. And maybe even get it done before the 1st of July. Does that answer your question, Rosemary, or did I misunderstand? All right, Rosemary's was the last question I had. Is there any other questions at all about this process or anything else in BNI Connect? I'd be happy to answer those questions. Mark says, if a member opts out, does the Secretary-Treasurer still have to send in a drop report? Yes, absolutely. All the opt-out does is send a notification saying this member decided not to renew. Everything else would happen as it normally does. I kind of consider this the canary in the coal mine. It gives you one last chance to maybe talk to that member, find out why they're not going to renew. And maybe there's something that you can work with that member, maybe to get them to convince them to stay. Doug says, can someone apply to renew online and make paper payments if set up by the regional office with online renewal? Again, in some regions, they do allow paper payment. In San Diego, you are going to be using only online payments to start off with when you're using the online renewals. Lee says, can we get a printout PDF of your who gets which emails frame, please? Lee, as I mentioned earlier, what I will do is with Catherine's permission, I will just email out a link to the recording as well as the entire PowerPoint to everybody that was signed up for today's webinar. David says, if someone wanted to pay by check, they would have to submit a paper application. What I would say is to please check in with your director consultant on that one, David. But as of the process right now, the only way to pay by check would be through the paper process. Mark says, okay, but I assume that we don't have to add the members who renew to the MDR as a renewal under the new system. That one I would definitely check in with your regional office. I would assume that because it's handled as part of the MDR report, that should take care of itself. The reason for the writing on it was to catch up for the lag in the process with the paperwork. Okay, we do still have some confusion about the online renewals and being able to pay by check. So what I need to do is to, again, because I'm not a member or an admin or a director in the San Diego region, Catherine, if you're there, would you mind unmuting yourself and perhaps you can jump in and explain how you'd like that process to work for somebody that might need to pay by check for corporate reasons or things like that. Alternatively, I'm sure she'd be able to send out an email explaining how that process would work. And Lee says, please continue to include all member info on the membership dues report. So that answers that question. Catherine says, if there are checks that are required, you will need pre-approval from the BNI San Diego office. There is a way to do this, and I can explain that to the San Diego office. So if you have a check that must be processed with the online renewal, please contact the regional office first in order to process that. Okay? Does that clear things up a little bit for everybody? I think there's about 5 people that asked that question. And these are, somebody mentioned paper applications. Again, these are paper renewal applications only. The full application for brand new members, that's something that we hope to have in the future. However, right now, all we have is the online renewals. And I do have approval. I will be sending the PowerPoint to everybody that was on the call today. So. All right, are there any other questions? Any other questions at all? All right, well, thank you everybody for being here. I greatly appreciate you sharing the time with me today. If you do have any additional questions, please, especially if they're process related, please do direct those to your regional office. If you have general BNI Connect questions, of course, we're always happy to help in any way we can. Just a reminder that this will be on the support site. The recording will be listed there. You can get to the support site by clicking on the question mark in BNI Connect or go to support.bniconnect.com. All of our recordings are all up on our YouTube channel as well, youtube.com/BNI Connect Global. I would love it if you would give us a like on Facebook. We are at facebook.com/BNI Connect Global. Of course, you can email us at support@bniconnect.com. And finally, a good referral for me. A good referral for me would be to please join me for one of our regular webinars. You can see those on your regional event calendar or go to the support site. Our very next webinar is going to be tomorrow. We have a 5-step process for training members with BNI Connect. We're up to step 3 tomorrow, and that is connecting with other members. We're going to show you how to use the search system, how to send connection requests, how to give people testimonials, how to participate in groups. And we're going to follow that up Monday with member tools and reports. And finally, next Tuesday, the inviting process, inviting and registering visitors in BNI Connect. So please help me to promote those webinars. And if you know anybody that needs a little more help in BNI Connect, please send them there. Pam, I will hang on the line and talk with you in just a second. All right. Thank you so much, everybody, and have an absolutely wonderful rest of the week. Happy connecting, everyone.